King Vikramaditya ruled a prosperous kingdom. He was known for his wisdom and bravery. The king had 7 wives. Each queen lived in her own grand palace. They were adorned with jewels and silks. However, it was Rani Padmavati who held a special place in the king's heart. Padmavati was known for her grace and kindness. She was loved by all. The king was drawn to her gentle nature. He spent most of his time with her. But Padmavati yearned for something more. She longed to have a child. Years turned into decades, and Padmavati remained childless. The other queens whispered behind her back. They taunted her subtly. They hinted at her inability to bear an heir. Padmavati bore their barbs with patience. She prayed fervently to the gods for a child. She never lost hope. She believed that one day her prayers would be answered. The other queens watched Padmavati closely. They noticed the special attention she received from the king. They saw how his face lit up in her presence. Jealousy began to fester in their hearts. They gossiped amongst themselves. They plotted ways to discredit Padmavati. However, the king's love for Padmavati only grew stronger with each passing day. Their schemes always failed. Padmavati remained oblivious to their envy. She continued to treat them with kindness. Padmavati's faith in the gods never wavered. One day her prayers were answered. She found out she was pregnant. The king was overjoyed with the news. He showered her with even more love and attention. He ordered the finest silks and jewels for his beloved queen. The entire kingdom rejoiced at the news of the queen's pregnancy. However, the news was met with dismay by the other queens. Their jealousy intensified. They feared that Padmavati's child would diminish their own standing. Padmavati's pregnancy progressed smoothly. Finally, the day arrived when she went into labor. After a long and arduous process, Padmavati gave birth not to 1, but 8 children, 7 boys and a girl. The kingdom erupted in celebration. The king was ecstatic. He held his children close to his heart. He showered them with love and blessings. The other queens were consumed by envy. They couldn't bear the thought of Padmavati's happiness. They decided to take matters into their own hands. They hatched a sinister plan. Driven by their wickedness, they stole the 7 baby boys. They crept into the nursery at night. One by one, they took the sleeping infants. The queens took the 7 boys to a secluded part of the palace gardens. They buried them alive under a mango tree. They placed a dead snake in the cradle instead of the boys. The next morning, Padmavati was distraught when she discovered her sons missing. The sight of the dead snake filled her with horror. The other queens accused Padmavati of negligence. They claimed she had brought this misfortune upon herself. The king was heartbroken. He couldn't bear the thought of losing his sons. He banished Padmavati from the kingdom. He couldn't bear to look at her. He blamed her for the tragedy. Padmavati was devastated. She pleaded with the king. She begged him to believe her innocence. But the king was blinded by grief. He refused to listen. With a heavy heart, Padmavati left the palace. She had only her baby girl for company. Padmavati wandered through the forest for days. She was exhausted and heartbroken. She had lost her sons. She had lost her husband. She had lost her home. She didn't know where to go or what to do. As fate would have it, she came across a small hut. An old hermit lived there. He was known for his wisdom and healing powers. The hermit took Padmavati in. He listened patiently to her story. He could sense her pain and innocence. The hermit taught Padmavati the art of healing. He taught her about the medicinal properties of plants and herbs. He taught her how to use her knowledge to alleviate the suffering of others. Padmavati embraced her new life with dedication. She became a skilled healer. She used her knowledge to help the villagers. She treated their illnesses. She comforted them in their times of need. Years passed. One day, King Vikramaditya fell seriously ill. None of the palace physicians could cure him. The king was on his deathbed. In desperation, his courtiers set out to find a skilled healer. Their search led them to Padmavati's doorstep. The king recognized his beloved Padmavati instantly. Remorse washed over him. He realized he had wronged her terribly. He begged for her forgiveness. Padmavati, with her compassionate heart, forgave the king. She cured him using her healing skills. The king wanted to make amends. He asked Padmavati to return to the palace. He wanted to give her the respect she deserved. He launched an investigation into the disappearance of his sons. The truth came out. The other queens confessed to their heinous crime. They led the king to the mango tree. There he found the skeletal remains of his 7 sons. The king was devastated. He was furious. He punished the guilty queens. Justice was served. Padmavati returned to the palace. She was welcomed with open arms. The king and Padmavati remarried in a grand ceremony. Their daughter, who had grown up to be a beautiful and intelligent young woman, was reunited with her father. And so, good triumphed over evil. Padmavati's resilience and compassion had saved the day.